Exercise 3. Okay, let's start with exercise 3 now. Again, as I've done earlier, I'll be picking up important questions from each of these exercises and discuss those questions with you. Question 6. Salim covers 910 kilometers by boat, road and rail in the ratio of 4:3:6 respectively. So we can find out how much of these 910 kilometers have been covered by boat, road and rail. Surprisingly, the speed at which the journey was covered were also in the ratio of 4:3:6 respectively. Okay. The time taken, the total time taken for the journey was 89 hours. The ratio of time taken by boat, road and rail was okay. The first thing out here is we have been given the ratios. Two ratios have been given. The first is the ratio of distance. Ratio of distance for boat, road and rail is 4:3:6. This is the ratio of distance which has been given for boat is to road is to rail. And we are also given that the ratio of speeds for boat, road and rail is 4:3:6. Okay. So what is the ratio of time taken by boat, road and rail? Now in this question, these two pieces of data are useless. They are there to make you calculate that the total distance is 89 hours and the next and our tendency will be to calculate how much distance has been covered by each of these three. And then the total time is 89 hours, so we'll find the total distance by each one of them. You'll say that let the speeds be 4x, 3x, 6x. Then you'll say total, then for each of them you'll find the time taken and add up. Now that is not required because we know that time is equal to distance upon speed. So ratio of time should be equal to ratio of distance upon ratio of speed. So out here I can say, let me assume that the ratio of distance is a. So in this question I would like to say that the distance they are in the ratio of 4:3:6. So let me assume 4x was done in boat, 3x was done with this by road and 6x was done by rail. Sorry. Similarly, let me assume the speeds of the three modes are 4y for boat, 3y for road and 6y for rail. So what should be the ratio of time? Ratio of time will be equal to 4x by 4y is x upon y is to x upon y is to x upon y, which is nothing but 1:1:1. So choice B should be the answer. This is the correct method for doing this question. As I said earlier, do not calculate the distance covered by boat, road or rail. If you are calculating the distance by boat, distance by road or distance by rail and then dividing by speed of boat, speed of at road, speed by rail and adding them up and then saying 89 equal to 89, you are wasting time. You will get the answer, I don't have any doubt about it, but it will be at the cost of some other questions. This is a complete wastage of time. Ratio is the way forward, and which is what you have to get into the habit of, that you have to start using ratios to get the answers. Let's move to the next question. Question 7. A person has a total of rupees 330 in 1 rupee 50 paisa, 1 rupee and 25 paisa coins. They were in the ratio of 2:5:1. How many 1 rupee coins are there? So 1.50 rupee coin if it is possible. Then you have 1 rupee coin and then you have 0.25 rupee coins. They are in the ratio of 2:5:1. The starting point for me, the question says is how many 1 rupee coins are there? The number 1 rupee coin should be a multiple of 5. Unfortunately for me, all choices are multiples of 5. So they do not help me. None of these obviously means we have to check for everything else also. But A, B, C, D, I am not able to eliminate any one of them. Which means we have to solve this question completely by the conventional methods only. Alternately, you could start checking the choices. Rather than working with the, even though we have not been able to eliminate any choice, nothing stops us from checking the choices. For example, let me assume that 80 is the answer. If there are 80 1 rupee coins, that means the number of 25 paisa coins should be 1/5, which is 16, and the number of 1 rupee 50 paisa coins should be 32. So, which means the amount of money here for these 80 coins is 80 rupees. 16 coins of 25 paisa means another 4 rupees. And 32 coins of 1 rupee 50 paisa means 48 rupees. These add up to 80, 48, 128 plus 4, 132. We are looking for a total of 330. So my answer needs to be greater than 80. So this implies answer, we assume the answer to be 80, which means answer has to be greater than 80. Choice C is incorrect. Choice B in any case we have found is not the answer. So your answer is either of these two or none of these. Next, check for 200. If we say that 200 coins of 1 rupee, then the number of coins of 25 paisa will be 1/5, which is 40, and the number of coins of 1 rupee 50 paisa will be 80. So 80 into 1.5, this means 120 rupees. This is 200 rupees, and 40 into 0.25, this is 10 rupees. This adds up to 320 plus 10, 330 rupees. So the correct answer is choice D. Okay. So the choice always remains with you whether you want to work with choices or you want to solve the question. My preference most of the time is to work with choices. You can solve the question by conventional method, no harm in that. I have usually found it is safer and faster to work with choices. Hence, I always recommend working with choices. Let's go to the next question. Question 9. In an examination, the ratio of passed candidates to failed candidates was 3:1. That means 75% passed, 25% failed. If 8 more had appeared and 6 less had passed, then the ratio would have changed to 1:1. The number of candidates who appeared in the examination is. The first thing in this question which should strike is that the ratio of candidates passed to fail is 3:1. So we can say 3/4 passed and 1/4 failed, or the total number of candidates should be a multiple of 4. Choice A cannot be the answer. Okay, because it cannot be a multiple of 4, because 3/4 passed out of 20 means 22.5 have passed, which does not make sense. So this cannot be the answer. Just check the remaining choices. You have 40, 60, 80. Yes, you have none of these also, but we'll worry about it later. Out of these 3 choices, you should start checking with the choice which is in the middle, which is 60. It will help you eliminate choices if this is not the correct answer. So if there are a total of 60 students, if the total number of students is 60, then the number of candidates who have passed is equal to 45, 3/4 have passed, and the number of candidates who have failed will be 15. The next condition it says, if 8 more had appeared, that means if 68 had appeared and 6 less had passed, and passed would have been 6 less, which means 39. 45 minus 6, 39. Okay. The ratio would have changed to 1:1. So if 69 passed, the number of candidates who failed would have been 29. This ratio is not 1:1, hence this is an incorrect choice. So 60 cannot be the answer. The second thing which should also be evident to you is, while 60 cannot be the answer, your answer cannot be 80 also. Because if the answer is 80, the number of candidates who have passed will be much higher, and this gap will increase between pass and fail with this. So even 80 cannot be the answer. So your answer is either C or E. Let's check out for 40. If there are 40 students initially in the class, out of them the candidates who passed would be 30 and the candidates who failed would be 10. If 8 more had appeared, that means 48 had appeared. The number and 6 less had passed. The number of passed would have been, as per the question, 30 minus 6 equal to 24. So if 24 have passed, the remaining 24 would have failed. That means the ratio is 1:1. Correct answer is choice C. So if you have to work with choices, please remember you don't forget the ratios. For example, here we started off by saying my answer has to be 3, has to be a multiple of 4. Hence choice A, which is 30, cannot be the correct answer. Next, out of the remaining 3 choices, 40, 60, 80, I ignored none of these for a little while. Between 40, 60, 80, I checked the choice which is in the middle of the range. Because I started with the choice in the middle of the range and that choice we found to be incorrect, I was also able to say my answer should be less than 60. Why less than 60? Because at 60, the pass-fail ratio is more than 1. We need it to make it 1:1. which means I need to reduce the number of candidates who have passed. To reduce the number of candidates who have passed, I need to reduce the total number of candidates first. So which is why I said 80 cannot be the answer. The answer has to be either 40 or none of these. Then we checked 40. 40 satisfied all the conditions. Hence that has to be the answer, and none of these would not be considered. Let's go to the next question. Question 12. A dealer mixes 3 varieties of rice costing rupees 20 per kg, 24 per kg and 30 per kg, such that the mean price of the mixture is 25 per kg. If the mixture contains 3 kg of third variety and 2 kg of first variety, how much quantity of the second variety does it contain? So you have 2 kg of the first variety, which is costing you 20 rupees. Then we do not know how many kgs of the second variety is there, but that is costing us 24 rupees per kg, and the third variety costs us 30 rupees per kg, and we have 3 kgs of this. Okay. So the 3 kg and 2 kg of these two are given, such that the overall price is given to us as 25 rupees per kg. So the average price is 25 rupees a kg. Now let me assume these are x kg here. So this becomes 3 plus 2 7, 3 plus 2 5 plus x kg. 5 plus x kg, add this. So what would we do? We will say 2 kg into 20, 2 into 20 plus 24x plus 90 is equal to 5 plus x into 25. From here you find the value of x perfectly fine, nothing wrong with it. Let's however look at for a simpler and an easier method of doing it. Let me erase the slide so that we have some space to work. Now before we come to the question, let me just quickly run you through the deviation concept. Let me take simple numbers. Let me take 3, 4, 5 and 6. These 4 numbers, what is the average of these 4? It is 4.5. Now there's one simple rule of average which you always need to remember. You have studied, but possibly all of you have forgotten, that the deviation from the average of the numbers is 0. What do we mean by the deviation from the average? The numbers are 3, 4, 5, 6. Average is 4.5 of these 4 numbers. So deviation from the average, 3, the deviation is minus 1.5. This has a deviation of minus 0.5, which means I am saying number minus the average. This is what is defined as deviation. 5 minus 4.5, the deviation is 0.5, and 6 minus 4.5, deviation is 1.5. So what is the total deviation? 0. So what you need to remember is the total deviation, the sum of the deviations from the average of all items should be equal to 0. Let's see if we can apply it here. We know that we have 2 kgs of the first item, which is sold at 20 rupees a kg. We have x kg of the second item, which is sold at 24 rupees a kg, and we have 3 kgs of the third item, which is sold at 30 rupees a kg. Okay. And what is the average? As per the question, the average is 25 per kg. So what is the deviation from the average? For this first variety, deviation is the price is 20, the average is 25. So it is 5 rupees or minus 5, but that is minus 5 per kg. Since we have 2 kgs, the total deviation would be 2 into minus 5, which is equal to minus 10. Similarly, what should be the deviation here? The deviation in the second case is minus 1 per kg. Since there are x kgs, it should be minus x. And for the third variety, 3 kg at 30 rupees. Since the average is 25, the deviation here is plus 5. So it is plus 5 per kg for how many kgs? 3 kgs. So which is equal to plus 15. So since the sum of deviation has to be 0, I can say minus 10 minus x plus 15 should be equal to 0, which implies x should be equal to 5 kg. Okay. So how many kgs of the second variety? 5 kg. Now this is an extremely important concept for you, the deviation method. That sum of deviation is always 0 for a group of the total deviation from the average is always 0 is what you need to remember. We will be using it off and on it helps us cut down on calculation effort significantly. Let's move to the next question. Question 13. A trader mixes three qualities of sugar costing 15 per kg, 18 per kg and 22 per kg and sells it at 22 per kg, making a profit of 10%. So the three varieties are 15 rupees per kg, 18 rupees per kg and 22 rupees per kg. His selling price is 22 rupees per kg and he has a profit of 10%. So which implies cost price should be equal to 20 rupees, because cost price is 20 rupees, 10% profit, selling price becomes 22. If the mixture contains 4 kg of the first one, so this is 4 kg, then find the difference between the amount of second and the third quality of sugar in the mixture. So if this is x kg and this is y kg, we want to find x minus y. So great, let's apply deviation method in this question again. What is the three items have their prices given to us and we know that their average price is 20 rupees. So the first item, the deviation is minus 5 for 4 kg, so the total deviation becomes minus 5 into 4, which is equal to minus 20. Deviation for the second again is minus 2, because the average price is 20 rupees, this has an 18, so 18 minus 20 is minus 2 per kg, but they are x kg, so into x, so this is minus 2x. And the third one is deviation is plus 2, it is 2 more than the average into y, so it becomes 2y. And again the sum of the deviation has to be 0. So we can say 2y should be equal to 2x minus 20. 2x plus 20, sorry. So we can say 2 into y minus x is equal to 20, or this implies y minus x is equal to 10. So the correct answer out here is choice B. You would have noticed by applying deviation we have significantly cut down on a calculation. So please practice this method. This will be extremely useful if a question similar to this or a question on averages comes in the paper. Question 14th. Iron mixes 3 varieties of salt costing 15, 18 and 22 per kg and sells the mixture at 8 rupees per kg, thereby incurring a loss of 50%. If the loss is 50%, that means he is selling it at half the cost price, or in other words, cost price should be double of the selling price of 16 rupees. Since he's got a loss of 50%, that means he's selling at half his cost price, or his cost price should be double of the selling price. So his selling price is equal to 8 rupees per kg, which implies since he has got a loss of 50%, that means his cost price should be equal to 16 rupees. If the mixture contains 6 kg of the first variety, find the quantity of the second and third variety of salt in the mixture if both of them are integral multiple of a kg. You can directly check the choices, or the simplest actually would be to apply the deviation method. Again, you have got 3 varieties, 15 rupees per kg, 18 rupees per kg and 20 rupees per kg. The first one is 6 kgs. Second one we do not know, so let me take it to be x kg. The third one, let me take it to be y kg. Since this is not given to us, we have to find these two. The average cost price is 16 rupees. So what is the deviation from the average for the first one? The deviation from the average is minus 1. The price of the first variety is 15 rupees. The average is 16 rupees, which is here. So 15 minus 16 minus 1 into 6, which is equal to minus 6. Second variety, selling price of 18, which means a deviation of 2 because the average is 16. So total deviation is 2x, which is equal to 2x. And similarly for the third one, the deviation is 4, 20 minus 16 is 4, 4 into y, which is equal to 4y. So we can say 2x plus 4y minus 6 should be equal to 0, or we can say x plus 2y minus 3 equal to 0. Just substitute the choices and check out which one satisfies. Let's check the choices. x is 1, y is 1, 1 plus 2, 3, this satisfies. So this should be the answer. So once you have formed the basic equation, your task should not be to solve the equation but to substitute the choices and get the answer. This was a fairly simple equation. You could have also written it as x plus 2y is equal to 3. Hence x and y both have to be 1. Okay. So you can just solve it, but my standard method is form an equation and substitute. So you make an equation, substitute, that is usually the fastest way of getting to the answer. Let's go to the next question now. Question 15th. Oh, we have iron again coming back to us. Iron mixes 3 varieties of tea costing rupees 20, 30 and 24 per kg and sells the mixture at 30 per kg, making a profit of 20%. His selling price is equal to 30 rupees. His profit is equal to 20%. So his cost price should be equal to 30 upon 1.2, which is equal to 25 rupees. Okay. So the average cost price is 25 rupees. If the mixture contains 1 kg of the first variety, then the quantity of second, third variety can never be. Let's go back. Let's make an equation, substitute. The 3 items are, one is for 20 rupees per kg, second is for 30 rupees per kg, third is 24 rupees a kg, and the average price is 25 rupees a kg. Okay, so the average is equal to 25 rupees a kg. If the mixture contains 1 kg of the first variety is 1 kg. We do not know how many kgs of second and third are there, so let's put x and y. So again, what is the total deviation on account of the first variety? It is minus 5. Minus 5 into 1, which is minus 5. Second is 30 kg, 30 rupees a kg, average is 25, so 5 into x, which is equal to 5x. And the third one is minus 1, because the average is 25, here the price is 24, so minus 1 into y, which is equal to minus y. So we can say 5x, the minus 5 plus 5x minus y should be equal to 0, which implies 5x is equal to y plus 5. Substitute the choices, whichever choice does not satisfy cannot be the answer. Okay. So second and third are x and y. So let's check the choices now. If x is 2 and y is 5, x equal to 2, y equal to 5 means left hand side is 10, x equal to 2 and y equal to 5 satisfies, so this can be the answer. Let's look at the second one. X is 4, so left hand side becomes 15, 5 into 4, 20, sorry, and this also satisfies, 5 plus 15 is 20. Third one, 6 into 5 is 30, 25 plus 5, 30, this also satisfies, this also satisfies. Correct answer is none of these. You would have noticed that in the last 3 questions, you could have done all these questions with the help of your conventional methods also. But the moment you apply deviation method, the amount of calculation required reduces significantly, which is why this is a favorite method as far as I am concerned for questions of averages. Question 16. 3 mixtures containing milk and water in the ratio of 5:1, 2:1 and 3:1 are mixed in the ratio of 1:2:3. So the 3 mixtures of milk and water are 5:1, 2:1 and 3:1. And the question says their quantities are in the ratio of 1:2:3. So quantity ratio is 1:2:3. Okay. So the quantity of second is double of the first one and third is thrice of the third one. Now this should give us a starting point. Let's look at this 5:1. Let me assume the quantity of the first is 6 kgs. Why am I assuming 6 kg? Because this is ratio of 5:1, 5 plus 1 and 6. If I assume 6 kgs, then I will not end up in decimals. So the quantity of milk and water, now this here I am saying quantity. Quantity of milk and water in the first mixture will be 5 kg in the first one of milk and 1 kg of water in the first one. Since the ratio of quantity is 1:2:3, so I will take the quantity of the second mixture to be 12 kg and the third mixture to be 18 kg. So what is the quantity of milk and water in the second mixture? Milk is 2/3 and 1/3 is water. So 2/3 will be 8 and 4. Similarly, this will be 3 and 1/4. 1 3/4 will be milk in this, so 13.5 and 4.5. So 4, 4, 8.5, 9.5 will be here, and 8, 5, 13, 26.5. So the ratio of milk to water in the final mixture will be 26.5 or 265 is to 95. Which means none of the choices are correct, and the correct answer hence is none of these. Just from your point of view, this is 5 into 19 is 95. This is 53. So the ratio that you are looking for is 53 is to 19. This is not available out here. This is one simple way of doing the question, where if the ratio of quantities again 1 is to 2 is to 3, take the lowest one to be whatever it is. Actually, you could have even avoided this 18 kg and made it 36 kg, and then 12, 24, 36 kg could also have been done. Okay. So ideally, you should be looking for a number which will ensure you don't end up with decimals. But here it was not a big issue. Let's look at an alternate way of doing this question, which could be a little faster. Again, let me just write down. The first one is 5 is to 1, milk is to water. Second one is 2 is to 1, and third one is 3 is to 1. So what is the percentage of water in each of these mixture? Percentage of water in this mixture is 1/6, which is equal to 16.6%. And the second one is 1/3, which is equal to 33.3%. And in this one, in the last one, it is 1/4, which is equal to 25%. Since these are being mixed in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 3, I will say the average percentage should be between 25 and 33. But even if you ignore this completely, we can say percentage of water in the final mixture has to lie between 16.6% and 33.3%. It has to lie within this range. It has to be greater than 16.6 and less than 33.3. Why greater than? Because there is the smallest value out here and this is the highest value. If the answer comes out to be 16.66, that means the other two mixed items are not there in the mixture at all. Similarly, 33 cannot be the answer. So your answer has to be greater than 16.66% for water and less than 33.33%. Actually, since the ratios are 1 is to 2 is to 3, you could have even said your answer should be greater than 25%. But let's leave that for a minute. Now let's go to the choices and let's see what is the percentage of water in each one of them. Percentage of water in the first one is 1/4, so it is 25%. The second 1/3, which is 33.3%, so that could be the answer. So 33.33 cannot be the answer, hence we'll eliminate it completely. The third choice 3/7, 3/7 is 42%, 1/7 is 14%, so 3/7 is 42% water. 42% water is not possible, your answer needs to be in this region, so choice C is also incorrect. 2/5 water, 2/5 is equal to 40%, hence this is also incorrect. So your answer could be either A or E. Now, given the fact that there are 3 parts of 33%, 3 parts of 25%, 2 parts of 33% and 1 part of 16.66%, I will be reasonably confident in saying that the answer has to be greater than 25%, hence choice A cannot be the answer. But for some of you it may not be that easy and you may need to do the calculations beyond it. And if you need to do calculations beyond it, then obviously the first method which we have used is the right method for you. Okay. So this second method can be done only if you have a great amount of comfort with numbers and you can convert fraction to percentages without a problem. Question 17. 2 alloys containing copper and nickel in the ratio of 2 is to 3 and 7 is to 3 are melted and mixed in the ratio of 2 is to 1 to get a new alloy. Find the ratio of copper to nickel in the new alloy. So copper to nickel, in the first one it is 2 is to 3, in the second one it is 7 is to 3. They are mixed in the ratio of quantity is 2 is to 1. Now you could straight away solve the question assuming 2 kg of the first and 1 kg of the second, But again, it will be advantageous if you look at the numbers carefully. In the first one, the ratio is 2:3, so 2 plus 3 adds up to 5. In the second one, it is 7:3, this adds up to 10. So why don't you assume 10 kgs of the first one and 20 kgs of the, 10 kgs of the second one and 20 kgs of the first one. This will help you cut down on calculation effort. So the quantity of copper and nickel in the first one will be 2 by 5, 40% is the copper in the first one, so it will be 8 and nickel will be 12. Similarly 70%, so 7 and 3. So it becomes 15:15. The answer is 1:1. You could have done this question in terms of alligation also or weighted average. Let's go back. Should you have applied alligation or should you have applied weighted average? What do you have? You do not have the ratio of quantities. You are asked to find the ratio of quantities. Since the question is asking you to find ratio of quantities, you should not be using the concept of alligation. You should be using weighted average, or you should be doing exactly what we have done out here. Alligation for this question will give you the answer but is not prescribed because it will be time consuming. Let's go to the next question. Krishna bought some wheat at rupees 10 per kg. He buys 2 kg wheat from ration shop at the rate of 8 per kg. He mixes the two and sells at 11 per kg and makes a 25% profit. What is the ratio of non-ration wheat to ration wheat? In this question, we are being asked to calculate the ratio of quantities. What is the ratio of non-ration to ration wheat? So the ratio of quantities is being asked from us, so we should be using alligation. He bought some wheat at rupees 10 a kg. Okay, so he bought some wheat at 10 a kg. He buys 2 kg wheat from a ration shop at 8 a kg. So 8 rupees a kg, this is 2 kg. And this is the ration variety. He sells the mixture at rupees 11 per kg. So his selling price is 11 per kg. And he makes a profit of 25%. His profit is 25%, that means his margin is equal to 20%. So his cost price should be equal to 80% of 11, which is equal to 8.8. I hope this is clear to everyone. If profit is 25%, profit percentage is profit as a percentage of cost, which is 25%. Margin is equal to profit as a percentage of selling price. So if profit is 25%, margin should be 20%. For those of you who are not aware, you can use a simple formula. Margin is equal to profit upon 100 plus profit. So if P is equal to 25%, margin will be 20%. Okay. So his average is now 8.8. So the ratio of quantity, this is the non-ration one. This is 0.8 is to 1.2, or this is 8 is to 12, or which is nothing but 4 2s are 8, 4 3s are 2 is to 3. So the correct answer is choice E, none of these. Just to repeat, this question, since we were required to find the ratio of quantities, we have taken alligation. Had the ratio of quantities been given, then we would have used weighted average. Let's move to the next question. Question 21. Ram committed 2 mistakes in an examination where all questions carried equal marks and obtained 72%. If he attempted 4 more questions and made 3 mistakes, he would have obtained 84%. If there was no negative marking for wrong answers, how many questions were asked? Ram committed 2 mistakes and got 72% marks. Okay. So originally he had got 72% marks, in which how many he attempted, we don't know. But his mistakes, we know he made 2 mistakes. The next condition, the question says he would have got 84% marks if his attempts would have increased by 4 and he had 3 mistakes. If there are 3 mistakes, that means while his attempt has gone up by 1 I'm sorry, attempts have gone up by 4, his mistakes have gone up by 1, or his correct answers have gone up by 3. Or in other words, his percentage has jumped from 72% to 84%, or his percentage has increased by 12% due to 3 correct answers, 3 extra correct answers, which implies every correct answer is equal to, every correct answer will be equal to 4%. So one correct answer is 4%, so the total number of questions you asked were 25. Question 26. Maddie is engaged in 2 transactions where he earns same amount as profit in each case. So the amount of profit is the same in each case. He makes 25% profit in the first and a 20% gain in the second. If the same amount is earned as profit and the 2 transactions are combined, his profit becomes 22.22%. The sale price in the combined transaction is, okay, let's see. Okay, let's have a look at this question now. We need to find the sale price in the combined transaction. Let's look at the initial data. 25%, let me assume that the cost price of the items which are sold in each transaction are X and Y. Okay, let me assume the cost price are X and Y. He makes 25% profit in the first transaction. So his profit in the first one is 25% and the second one is 20%. So you can say 25% of X should be equal to 20% of Y, because the question says you get equal amount of profit. He earns same amount of profit in each case, which means X upon Y is equal to 20 by 25, which is equal to 4 by 5. Okay. So we have got the ratio of cost price. What is 4 upon 5? Ratio of cost price. If the cost price of the first item is 4 rupees, that of the second item should be 5 rupees. What are we required to find? The sales price of the combined. Now with the data given only in percentage terms and no absolute profit given anywhere or the absolute cost price of any item given anywhere, you cannot calculate the selling price. Okay. So the answer has to be insufficient data cannot be determined. The reason is, you know the ratio of cost price. We know X is to Y is 4 is to 5. This is the ratio of cost price. Okay. We assume that let the cost price of the first two items be X and Y. What will be the ratio of selling price? The question says profit on each of them is equal, and it is, for the first one it is 25%. So profit for each one of them is 1 rupee each. If the cost price are 4 rupees and 5 rupees, then the profit is 1 rupee each, or the selling price becomes 5 and 4, or the ratio of selling, 5 and 6, or this is the ratio of selling price. But is it the actual selling price? No, it is not. So given the data, we can only calculate the ratios of cost price and the ratio of selling price. We cannot calculate the absolute cost price or sale price, because to calculate that, some number had to be given somewhere. Either the cost price of one of the 2 items, or the selling price of one of the 2 items, or the amount of profit. Supposing the question says the amount of profit in each is 10 rupees. That means the cost price of the 2 items should be 40 rupees and 50 rupees. Then you can calculate. In the given question, the correct answer has to be insufficient data.